What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. Today, I'm going to be revealing my still too early college football top 25. I've got about 10, 15 audible mentions we're going to look at the end of the video as well. But I've got 25 teams. I've got why they're in my top 25, and I've got them ranked from 25 to 1. So let's go ahead and get started here. Before we get started, though, join me down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your top 25. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button as well. Starting off 25, we've got Texas Tech out of the Big 12 last season, 8-5. Why are they here? Baron Morton comes back at quarterback, but also they have the number 2 transfer portal class. Joey McGuire has done a pretty solid job at Tech at building kind of a foundation. I thought they were going to be good last year as far as getting over the hump, but I think it's going to be a year later. It's going to be this year. So at 25, I've got Tech. They've got reasons for optimism, like I said, with a big portal class coming in that should be able to fill some pieces they need to compete in the Big 12. 24, Ole Miss. Last season, 10-3, kind of a disappointment, to be honest with you, with the talent they had on that roster, with the number 1 portal class, with Jackson Dart. The good news for them is they have Lane Kiffin at head coach. While he's not probably going to win a championship this year, he is consistent enough to have them as a top 25 team to where they beat the bad teams but lose to probably the good teams. That's probably what's going to happen again. Number 23, we've got Nebraska. Last season, 7-6. They've got Dylan Raiola back at quarterback. Why? Matt Rule. Go check his history as a head coach. His third season, whether it was at Baylor, whether it was at Temple, is always when it starts getting good for Matt Rule, and I think that's going to happen this year for Nebraska. They have a solid roster. They've got their quarterback back, which is pretty solid. And again, Matt Rule, I think this is the year they're going to get over the hump a little bit. Not saying they'll challenge for a playoff spot, but they're going to be pretty solid. Number 22, Georgia Tech. Last season, 7-6. They returned their backfield, though. Haynes King, Jamal Haynes. Jamal Haynes, 1,000-yard rusher. Haynes King, awesome dual threat guy, transferred from A&M. He can win you a game by himself. Georgia Tech, I think, is actually going to be a sleeper for a college football playoff bid this year. We'll talk about that in another video when I do my early playoff predictions, which I'll probably be doing in the next couple of days, so be on the lookout for that. But Georgia Tech, I think, has a good shot to be pretty dang good this year. 21, Oregon. Now, this is pretty low for a lot of people probably. Last season, 10-4, number 1 throughout the majority of the year. But they lose a ton from that roster last year. That backfield is completely gone. Dante Moore takes over at quarterback. You've got Mekhi Hughes taking over at running back from Tulane. So you've got a good portal class coming in as well. You've got a talented backfield, but they haven't shown it in the Big Ten. Dante Moore, formerly at UCLA. Mekhi Hughes, like I said, at Tulane. Dan Lanning, though, has done a pretty good job at keeping Oregon really consistent in the top 5. So they're going to be good, top 25 caliber, but I question just what their ceiling is this year because, again, I don't know quite how this roster is going to make up yet as far as you've had Dylan Gabriel, you've had Bo Nix, you've had guys that have proven it before somewhere else, and I don't know yet about Dante Moore. 20, USC. Last season, 7-6. Lincoln Riley, I know, gets a lot of crap, and justifiably so. They do lose their quarterback, Miller Moss, but their backup came in at the end of the year and did a pretty solid job. Their only 10-plus game last year where they lost by 2 touchdowns, more than 7 points, was to Notre Dame, which made the championship. And so not really any bad losses last year, all within single digits minus the Notre Dame game. And so you look at the roster they've got coming in. You look at Lincoln Riley's track record. I know he's been kind of disappointing at USC, but I think this year they'll be pretty solid in the Big Ten, and I think they can challenge for like a top 5 spot in the Big Ten. Number 19, Tennessee. They admittedly were higher for me before Nico left. Now, how much of a downgrade is Joey Aguilar from Nico? I don't know if he's any of a downgrade, but it was more just returning pieces. And the more that I've looked at it, they lose a lot of guys from that playoff run last year, almost everybody, whether it's receivers, whether it's their backfield. Dylan Sampson at running back. A lot of guys gone. Now, Josh Heupel is a pretty slept-on coach. I'd argue a top 10 coach in the country. So I think they're going to be kind of similar like what I was saying with Lane Kiffin. They'll be a good team. Might even could challenge for a playoff spot. I don't know yet. I got to see how this roster plays out. But they're going to take a step back from what they were last year, I think. But Josh Heupel is good enough to have them as a top 25 team. 18, Kansas State. So I think there are not Texas Tech, but about 3 teams that are going to challenge for a playoff spot. Kansas State's being the first one. Why? They've got Avery Johnson, and Kleiman's done a good job there. Kansas State's always competitive in the Big 12. And if they're going to do it, this is the roster they have to do it. You've got a good quarterback in Johnson, got a solid running back, receiver. You've got good guys on defense. This is a good roster that I think could only have one loss at the end of the year, maybe even go undefeated. Kansas State, top 20 team for me. 17, Notre Dame. Last season, 14-2, made the national championship. You've got Jeremiah Love come back, which you could argue is the best running back in the country. But you look at that playoff run, Jeremiah Love was banged up. I thought Marcus Freeman did a good job. I've questioned kind of how good of a coach he was prior to that run. But again, looking at it, defense was really good. They lose some key pieces, Xavier Watts to name one. But quarterback-wise, Riley Leonard kind of did everything for him, whether it was passing, whether it was running. He kind of put the offense on his shoulders and did what needed to be done. He is gone. So how is their next quarterback going to do? That's why I've got them at 17 right now. I still think they're a playoff contender, but they're going to take a step back. I don't think this is a championship team, no matter how good Jeremiah Love is, because Riley Leonard kind of, even though their offense struggled in the playoff at times, Riley Leonard was carrying that load there. His back was hurting from how good they were doing in the playoff, how he was running, he was passing, he kind of had to do it all. So we'll see what they do at the quarterback position. 16, I've got BYU. Last season, 11-2, actually might have had an argument to make the playoff. They've got a ton of guys returning. You could argue they're top 5 players. Quarterbacks back, running backs back, receivers back, top 2 players on defense, tackling leader, interception leader. Ton of guys coming back. I think this is a playoff team this year. I've got them at 16 right now. I think the Big 12 could get 2 teams this year. Pretty good shot at that, actually. Maybe, probably not 3, but 2 I think is realistic and probably going to happen. Whether it's the 2 teams I already mentioned, not counting Texas Tech, BYU and Kansas State, or a team I'm going to mention here in a little bit. I think they can get 2 teams in the playoff. But BYU is going to be one of those probably, again, had an argument to kind of get in. When you looked at it, you kind of broke down the metrics. Like everybody's talking about Bama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, but really looking at it, BYU actually has an argument to get in. And I think this is the year they get in. 15, Iowa State. So here's the other Big 12 team. Last season, 11-3. They return their backfield. Rocco Beck. They've got their top 2 running backs coming back. Matt Campbell has kind of been assembling this roster. You know, they lost 2 receivers last year or this year to the draft, which are going to be impact on, but their backfield is stacked. Their backup running back started multiple years for them, got replaced this past season because they had a better running back. So they've got their top 2 guys coming back, 2 threats all over the field. Rocco Beck has started a ton of games. He's won a ton of games. They've got some transfers coming in to replace those receivers. So I think Iowa State's a team to watch out for. 14, Louisville. Last season, 10-4. Pretty good record. Actually ended up getting up pretty high. Didn't have any bad losses, really. And Jeff Rom is a heck of a coach. He's going to get Louisville in the top 25 every season pretty much. But their backfield is going to be nasty. I know they lose Tyler Shough to the NFL, but you've got Isaac Brown at running back, 1,000-yard rusher. You've got Miller Moss coming over from USC. You know he has arm talent. Louisville is going to be a team that, similar to what I've already said about a couple of teams, I think they're going to be able to challenge for a playoff spot. I think the ACC might could slip 3 teams in there. We'll see. But Louisville's going to be one of them that's in the conversation. 13, Alabama. This might be a little low, but I don't know. They had some weird losses last year with Kalen DeBoer, and I don't know. If he doesn't get it going this year, I'm going to have some questions. They've got a super talented roster despite what they lost to the draft. You've got guys that are obviously still left over from Saban that are going to get drafted in round 1, but if you couldn't win with Jalen Milroe and make the playoff, what are you going to do with what they've got now? I don't know. We're going to see. We'll see who they end up going with at quarterback. Is it the freshman? Is it Ty Simpson? Is it Keelan Russell? We'll see. But Kalen DeBoer, he's a good coach, obviously, from what he did at Washington. But I don't know. Last year at Alabama, it didn't really work for me. They had that one half or against Georgia where they looked like the best team in the country. Then after that, it was like, what the heck is going on here? So we'll see what they do. But right now, I've got Alabama at 13. 12. This might be high, but Vanderbilt. Last season, 10-4. I might be wrong, actually. I don't think they went 10-4. That's wrong. But pretty solid season last year. I don't know why it says 10-4. That's not right. But Diego Pavia at quarterback is going to win you ball games by himself. He's good enough for that. This roster is improved from last year, a team that beat Alabama last year. That roster is improved. I think Pavia is a good enough leader to get them and win games by himself. Vanderbilt, I've got a 12 right now. Number 11, I've got LSU. Last season, 9-4. Garrett Nussmeier is back at quarterback. Puts up some really good numbers. I kind of question how good he actually is. If he's just a number stat stuffer. But Brian Kelly and really the LSU program in general are consistent enough to where even if they have a down year, they're going to be a top 15 team probably. And that's the case under Brian Kelly. Even in years they've kind of underachieved, they're still a top 15, top 20 team. Uh, I don't know. I question Garrett Nussmeier's upside. Again, he puts up good numbers, but can he win? We'll see. LSU, they kind of had a game last year against A&M where they were smoking A&M, and then they ended up crapping the bed and losing. They just couldn't figure out how to stop them. So we'll see. I think this could be Brian Kelly's best team, maybe. Not as far as roster talent makeup, but as far as production wise, this could be his best team he's had at LSU. But we'll see. I'm gonna have to see it to believe it. Number 10, Illinois. Really good year last year, 10-3 under Brett Bielema. They were kind of one loss away from kind of having a conversation to be maybe be in the playoff. They wouldn't have dropped to Minnesota. They've got a good roster coming back. Luke Altmaier at quarterback is their leader. Won a ton of games last season, has won good games in his starting history as the Illinois quarterback. And I think they're a team that can make the playoff this year. I've got them at number 10 for now to not get too high on them. But Illinois is going to be good this year. They might could be this year's Indiana. Number 9, Miami. Last season, 10-3. Got the number 3 portal class coming in to replace a lot of those guys they're losing. Cam Ward to name one. But the good news is you're bringing in Carson Beck to replace Cam Ward. While Carson Beck might not offer the upside Cam Ward does, he does offer you a winning mentality. He comes in, he's won a ton of ball games at Georgia, one of the winningest quarterbacks probably playing football right now. Mario Cristobal, again, I question some of his in-game decisions, but overall he's a pretty good coach. He's pretty consistent. So Miami, I think, has a good chance to make the playoff this year, and Carson Beck's going to be a big reason why. Number 8, Michigan. Now, this is high when looking at their record and Sharon Moore, what he has done. But the reason is their defense, is going to be good. They're going to have a run game. But last year they had absolutely no quarterback play. They've improved in the quarterback department. I can guarantee that. Whether it's Bryce Underwood, whether it's Mikey Keene, they're going to have higher upside in the quarterback room. They're going to have more steady quarterback play because if Bryce Underwood doesn't work, you go to Mikey Keene and you're probably okay. And Michigan, I think, is going to be a player in the Big Ten race. I know last year didn't go great. Like I said, 8-5, but Sharon Moore, he can beat Ohio State. Not that that has to do with anything as far as being number 8, but this roster is going to be good. The defense is stacked. You're going to be able to run the football. As long as Bryce Underwood can be above average, Michigan's going to be a top 10 team. Number 7, Florida. Billy Napier kind of got a slow start, but once he went to DJ Lagway, once he took the reins off and went away from Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway ran away and took off with that offense. Florida, I like the roster Billy Napier has built here. It took some time, but I think he's finally got them to where they can contend in the SEC. And Billy Napier's got this program trending up. I got him at number 7 right now, but I think the sky's the ceiling for Florida this year. We'll see what they're made of. Number 6, Clemson. Now, before I move on, actually, Florida does have a really difficult schedule. So, end of the year, they might not be ranked there, but right now they are. Number 6, Clemson. Last season, 10-4. Made the college football playoff. They've got a ton of first-round NFL talent coming back. Dabo Swinney, he's going to win ball games, and I think this is his most talented roster he has had since Trevor Lawrence. Cade Klubnik started multiple years now, and looking at, I think the last mock draft, there was like 6 to 8 guys from Clemson being drafted in the first round. And Dabo, over the last 10 years, he's only not reached double-digit wins once. This roster is super talented. They're going to reach double-digit wins. They're going to make the playoff, and they're going to be a top 5 team probably by the end of the season. Number 5, South Carolina. Last season, 9-4. I think this is Shane Beamer's best team he has had here. Big reason for that is Lenoris Sellers. I think he's going to be the number 1 pick next year probably. He's got all the tools. He's got the frame. He's big. He can throw. He can run. He can pass. He can do it all. He's the best player on the field at all times. Lenoris Sellers is going to carry this team to the playoff. I think you look at last year, they were kind of borderline sneaking in the playoff anyway. And go look at their schedule. Not that has to do anything with the rankings right now, but go look at their schedule. Really good chance South Carolina goes undefeated. So we'll see what happens. They'll be in the playoff, though, I think. Number 4, Georgia. Lose a lot of pieces. Last season, 11-3, kind of disappointing year for Kirby Smart. Won the SEC, though. You lose a lot of guys, like I said. Number 1, Carson Beck is gone. Gunnar Stockton, though, I thought did a good job in the playoff. He actually hit the guys in stride. They just didn't have a lot of weapons. Receiver, running back, it was kind of lacking, I thought, for Georgia. And I think it's going to be an improvement this year. Again, not saying Gunnar Stockton is an improvement over Carson Beck, but what I saw from Gunnar Stockton in the playoff, I think they're going to be fine. As long as the skill guys can get the job done, Georgia is in good shape. Number 3, Ohio State. Last season, 14-2, won the Big Ten. Didn't win the Big Ten, won the national championship. Excuse me, won the Natty. Now the reason they're here, I know it's going to be a little questionable. You could argue they have upside for number 1, just off of the 2 guys alone that I'm going to talk about. But the rest of the roster, they lose a lot of guys. Jack Sawyer's gone. JT Tuimoloau's gone. You lose Will Howard at quarterback. You lose Ibuka on offense. You lose both the running backs. You lose Henderson and Judkins. So you got to replace a lot of pieces. Now, the good news is you have arguably the 2 best players in college football in Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs as safety. So if you've got that working for you as far as you're going to have the best player probably out there, and Caleb Downs being a safety definitely helps. If Julian Sand can be okay at quarterback, I think they'll be fine. But they're going to have to replace a lot of pieces. So that's why I've got them at 3 right now. But we'll see what happens. Number 2, I've got Texas. Last season, 13-3, made the semis for the 2nd year in a row, but they haven't quite gotten over the hump of the championship. A lot of NFL talent on this roster. Arch Manning got a few games at quarterback. Not against the best competition, but he looked pretty solid. Going to offer you a little more of a running threat than Quinn Ewers did as well. The running back room, probably arguably the best running back room in the country. You've got to replace a lot of guys, though, at skill positions, tight end, receiver, but they've got good guys coming in the portal. Defense is going to be good again. I think it's probably going to be arguably the best defense in the country with the guys they've got, Anthony Hill, Tafe, whoever. They're going to be good. But right now I've got them at 2 just because I think the team I'm about to talk about at number 1 is a little more experienced in the backfield at quarterback, so I think that's going to help them. But Texas coming in at 2. Number 1, I've got Penn State, and I'm a little questionable on this, admittedly, because James Franklin has question marks for me, but it's no question mark that I would say Steve Sarkisian doesn't have. Last season, 13-3, made the semis, probably should have beat Notre Dame. Now, you lose some talent, Abdul Carter, Tyler Warren, but they have the pieces in place to be the number 1 team in the country. They return their backfield, both running backs, Allen, Singleton. You've got Drew Aller back at quarterback. I think they've got him a little more downfield threats at the receivers than he has had. Defense is going to be stacked again. You've got Jim Knowles coming over from Ohio State as the DC. Penn State, I think, is the number 1 team right now. If Ohio State and Texas had less questions, I'd probably have them at number 1. But really looking at it, I mean, I don't know who else can be number 1 right now because Texas roster is stacked. But how is Arch Manning going to look? So we'll see. But right now, I got Penn State at 1. All right, so the honorable mentions we've got. These are in order, by the way. 26, Arizona State. Lost Cam Scatabo, but quarterback, receiver, I kind of like what they have there with Sam Levitt and some big receivers. 27, A&M. Marcel Reed, we'll see if he can improve a little bit down the field. Mike Elko is a good coach, though. 28, Arkansas. Taylon Green offers you a good dual threat, a high upside quarterback that I think can win you some ball games. 29, Virginia Tech, team that's being slept on a little bit. They've got Kyron Drones back at quarterback. They should be good. 30, Pitt. Do you remember last year they started the first half of the season ranked really good, then just had a serious drop-off. They've got a lot of pieces back from last year, though. They've got their quarterback, Eli Holstein. They got a lot of guys on defense back. They'll be good with Pat Narduzzi on defense. 31, NC State. Dave Doran, one of the more underrated coaches in the country. CJ Bailey at quarterback, name to keep an eye on. 32, SMU. So this is a name that a lot of people are probably going to wonder why they're not ranked, but they just lose so much from last year's roster. I know Rhett Lashley's won a ton of ball games. I know Jennings won a ton of ball games last year and looked good until the playoff. But they lose so many pieces, running backs, receivers, whether it's the draft or the transfer portal, that it's going to be Jennings out there, and he's going to have to win games by himself. So we'll see with SMU. They could be a little higher, I think, but I don't know. Right now, that roster is so depleted, I don't know. 33, Minnesota. This is a team that kind of had an underrated year last year. I think they had 8 wins, which was not really talked about at all. PJ Fleck, a pretty good head coach. He's consistent enough. Got Minnesota at 33. 34, Iowa. Kirk Ferentz, I like the guy. But if they couldn't win with that roster they had last year, it's not any better than the roster this year is definitely not better than that roster. You lose your leader on defense, Jay Higgins. You lose your leader running back, Caleb Johnson. So Iowa, I think, will take a little step back. 3 Big 12 teams here, Kansas, Baylor, TCU. First off, Kansas, Jalen Daniels, if he can stay healthy, I think they have some upside in the Big 12. Baylor, pretty good record last year, but didn't really play anybody. Now, they do have their quarterback back and their top 2 running backs, so they should be solid. TCU, similar situation. Good record, didn't play anybody. They've got Hoover back at quarterback. All right, so to recap the top 25, we've got 25 Texas Tech, 24 Ole Miss, 23 Nebraska, 22 Georgia Tech, 21 Oregon, 20 USC, 19 Tennessee, 18 Kansas State, 17 Notre Dame, 16 BYU, 15 Iowa State, 14 Louisville, 13 Alabama, 12 Vanderbilt, 11 LSU, 10 Illinois, 9 Miami, 8 Michigan, 7 Florida, 6 Clemson, 5 South Carolina, 4 Georgia, 3 Ohio State, 2 Texas, and 1 Penn State. All right, like I said, pretty soon here I'll be putting out my college football playoff predictions and my G5 top 25. So if either one of those videos sound like something you might be interested in, and over the summer I'll be previewing all these teams. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button for me. If you're not subscribed already, it does help out the channel. And if you did like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. But comment your thoughts down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe.